Hello, boys and girls. Got another video for you fine folks on the internet today. I already tried recording this, but apparently had some technical issues I didn't notice till editing, so here we go with a second cut. Today, for this installment, we are going to be looking at another sort of psychedelic, folksy, singer-songwriter-y album, something of a cult classic, you might say. The 1970 album Parallelograms by Linda Perhacs, released by Kapp Records for vinyl and 8-track. First reissued 28 years later in 1998 on the Wild Places for CD issue. And then again in 2003 on expanded CD with bonus tracks. Then it was issued that same year by Merry-Go-Round Records for an expanded vinyl issue in South Korean markets. And 2 years later, in 2005, again by the same label for a limited edition South Korean CD. And in 2006 was given a Japanese issue on Magic Days with an expanded CD. And the same year on Guersen for Spanish markets on an expanded vinyl. And in 2008, Sunbeam Records issued expanded CD and a double vinyl edition for United Kingdom markets. And 2 years later, in 2010, Mexican Summer and Sunbeam Records issued limited edition numbered reissues on expanded CD and double vinyl. Mexican Summer handling the double vinyl and Sunbeam handling the CD. And then the same year, Sundazed Music issued an orange transparent vinyl in collaboration with Kapp Records, and a standard black vinyl in collaboration with Geffen Records. And then in 2014, Anthology Recordings reissued the expanded double vinyl. And actually, Linda Perhacs herself did a self-released reissue on CD in 2014 of the album. And Sunbeam Records reissued the expanded CD for European markets in 2018, and the same year, Sundazed Music issued a limited edition deluxe gold vinyl reissue, and that is this very issue that I am holding in my hand here. So, a little background information for anyone who is not familiar. Born Linda Arnold sometime in 1943, much like with Vashti Bunyan, despite doing my research, I could not find a definitive birth date for Linda Perhacs. Born in Mill Valley, California in 1943, she also lived in Topanga Canyon and later worked as a dental hygienist in Beverly Hills after studying at the University of Southern California. One of her clients happened to be Grammy and Emmy award-winning composer Leonard Rosenman, who expressed interest in hearing her self-recorded demos of her original songs. Being impressed with her material, Rosenman made arrangements to sign her to the Kapp record label and went to work recording and producing her debut full-length album, Parallelograms. Unfortunately, the duo were displeased with the final mix they heard on the original acetates, feeling that the dynamics of the record, the dynamic range, had been compromised in efforts to fit AM radio broadcast. Upon release, the album went largely unnoticed, and being overall let down by her experience in the music business, Perhacs quietly returned to her work in dentistry, dropping out of the music scene altogether. 20-plus years later, Perhacs was contacted by Michael Piper of Wild Places Records, who had reissued Parallelograms on CD in 1998, and she agreed to supply source tapes from her own personal collection to allow for an expanded reissue that would be more true to her original artistic vision. In the wake of the expanded re-release of her album, Perhacs returned to recording and even touring in earnest, actually releasing a second album in 2014 and a third in 2017. So she has been active again. And before we get on to the album itself, let me take a sip of tea here for the working man. Mango passion fruit for anyone keeping score. So side one opens with the soft acoustic sounds of Chimacum Rain. Perhacs sets the tone, singing that it rains here every day since she came. Her voice echoes and repeats, rain, 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 at the ends of verses. She also echoes and repeats again as she sings about spacing out, spacing out, spacing out. It's good stuff. She sings about seeing silences between leaves, making her first lyrical reference on the album to her condition of synesthesia. And the psychedelic dial gets turned up a notch in the bridge, her voice a spooky echo as she sings, "He belongs here, can't have him. He belongs here, can't know him." It's a lovely song, a quintessential piece of psychedelic folk music, and a stellar start to the album. Subdued but wholly unique. And the next track, Paper Mountain Man, is a more lively folk rock type song. Plenty of percussion and even harmonica sprinkled throughout. Perhacs sings of an archetypal hyper-masculine man who, in spite of his ruggedness and manliness, has a paper-thin capacity to love. Good song. The next track, Dolphin, is more reserved, acoustic finger-picking beneath a gentle vocal from Perhacs. I particularly like the end of the first verse. "If I held you for a toe, would you take me there and back? But what is there, and what good is back? I don't know." That's fucking great writing, if you ask me. The musical tempo seems to almost waver back and forth with the slightly variable pace of her picking. It's an interesting kind of quality. The next track, Call of the River, is more quintessential psych folk. Echoing vocal layers, nimble guitar picking that almost invokes the imagery of flowing water itself. It's very good. There's not enough I can say about Call of the River. You gotta listen to it yourself. The next track, Sandy Toes, begins with a rich bass riff. It's got, a nice full sound instrumentally, especially compared to the rest of the album. And Perhacs sings of standing about a peaceful, rainy beach and analogizes it to staring into the eyes of her lover. In the last verse, she sings that even if she lives for 90 years, the few spent with her lover will never be equaled. Very sweet. Following is the title track, Parallelograms, which is arguably one of the all-time definitive pieces of psychedelic folk music. Otherworldly acoustic instrumentation beneath repeated echoing vocals, Perhacs singing the names of various geometric shapes and exaggerating certain syllabic enunciation. The song was the direct product of her synesthesia, allegedly conceived during a drive in which she saw what she described as moving sculptures in the sky. There's a flourish of percussion that leads into a quiet, wispy, spacey section before returning to the familiar finger-picking pattern of the tune. This is a killer song. I can't say enough good about it. And side one. And side two, well, before I get into that, let me steal another sip of tea here for the working man. Side two, as I was saying, begins with the acoustic pickings of Hey, Who Really Cares? Easily the most singer-songwriter-y song on the album, if I can use such a phrase. And what I mean when I say that, I say that because almost anyone could sing this song. It's kind of the ultimate archetypal, angsty, lonely, sad acoustic song. A peen of loneliness and desire for companionship. Once again, there's not enough I could say about this song. It's direct and cuts right through feelings that everyone has at some point or another in their life. And on top of that, articulates them in a concise, a concise and mature manner. 5-star song, easily. The next track, Moons and Cattails, has an almost tribal feeling to the percussion, hand drums accentuating the mood. Definitely one of the more lively tracks on the album, even if still somewhat subdued. Is somewhat vague in the lyrics, but they definitely set a certain tone, set a mood with, again, its sort of primitive, primordial, tribal imagery. The next track, Morning Colors, is one of my personal favorites on the album. Soft and delicate acoustic song, focusing on a moment in time, a slice of life. Perhacs sings about the fog catching in cold round drops and dripping from the rail of her lover's terrace. She sings of colors from neon signs along the street, blinking through the droplets of precipitation. She sings of old, creaky wooden stairs, including a lovely lyric about the stairs complaining when she comes, and talking when she goes. The in-the-moment spirit of the song is emphasized in verses where she wonders if she should wake him being her lover, wake him to see all the bright bubble drops. And again, when she sings about the warm and still air, about fresh coffee and oranges, and about baking almond cakes. There's another lyric I really love elsewhere in the song where she sings, haven't heard a single footstep that is rushing to be on time. Again, fucking great writing, in my opinion. There's just enough backing orchestration, to give the track an extra bit of whimsy. I absolutely love it. The next track, Porcelain Baked Over Cast Iron Wedding, not only has a great title, but is another bustling song, almost country rock flavored. Perhacs sings of well-to-do partygoers living in a world of consumerism and living by the rules. The song is very much her rejection of that entire way of life, that entire way of being and thinking. As she sings at the end, "Ah, to hell with the rules." And the next track, "Delicious," is another delicate acoustic song. It's a lovely love song. Beautiful finger picking. I'll simply highlight a lyric from the last verse. "It's the narrowing instant when I look across at you, and I wish I could be emotion, naked, simple, and sure. It's the murmur of growth whenever I'm with you, and I don't want to hide." Fucking A. End side 2. So, final thoughts. An incredible album, start to finish. This is a benchmark of psychedelic folk music and has been an inspiration for a generation of indie songwriters. The album has been the soundtrack to many a lonely late night and many a quiet early morning. And revisiting time and time again after 10 plus years, I still, pick up sounds that I hadn't exactly sussed out before. This is a magical album. So let me pull this out of the custom sleeve it comes with, courtesy of Sundazed, with a special purple hype sticker talking about what a magnificent piece of psych folk this is. An essential, ethereal, psychedelic folk masterpiece. Closer look at the cover art here, featuring a lovely psychedelic image of Perhacs walking through some grasses superimposed upon a psychedelic image of her face. Lovely typeset up there for the album. And the back cover has lyrics. It's made to look handwritten, so some of it's kind of a pain in the ass to read, but it is what it is. The record comes in this lovely plastic sleeve and is, of course, as I said, on beautiful translucent gold vinyl. Here's the Kapp label for side 1. Side 2. Good stuff. Good looking vinyl. Sounds good. I was pleased with my purchase. And I will also take this opportunity to share with you fine folks my CD copy. I have the 2010 limited edition numbered CD reissue from Sunbeam. It has a nice gatefold, including a reproduction of the actual drawing that Linda Perhacs did for the music to the title track. This is her sheet music, if you want to call it that, for Parallelograms, with all the spirals, the flowing sections, the hot flash of percussion. It's a very interesting musical roadmap. Here's the back cover with a reproduction of the lyrics, which is, kind of dumb that they have it so small. It's not like you can really read most of that, but whatever. Has a booklet with some very interesting liner notes, and actually a nice little inner sleeve for the CD to sit in, which is nice. Keep it from sliding around in there. So, again, I can't say, like I've probably said 3 or 4, maybe more times already, I can't say enough good about this album. It's near perfect. I have listened to it countless times, and will probably listen to it countless more times. And all things considered, I definitely wouldn't hesitate. I would easily rate this 10 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10 album, start to finish. Can't go wrong. If you've never heard it, I suggest you pick it up if you can, or at the very least, stream it and immerse yourself for, 40, 50 minutes in this psychedelic world. So, here, 20 plus minutes on a rambling, I guess let me close out here and just say thanks for anyone who has watched all the way through. Let me know in the comments below, have you heard Parallelograms? Are you familiar at all with Linda Perhacs? Either this album or either of her 2 follow-up albums from 2014 and 17, A Soul of All Natural Things and I Am a Harmony, respectively. Let's get a discussion flowing in the comments. I always, as I say, I appreciate any and all viewership. And I'll bring more content for you guys down the road. Thank you again for watching. This has been Matthew Buckley Talks Music with Parallelograms by Linda Perhacs. Music is the best.